Hello, everyone. This is MMA Interesting Prospects podcast. Today, our guest is Andrew Valdina, who will fight on Cage Titans 77, July 18th. Hello, Andrew. How are you?
I'm doing great, man. How are you?
I'm good, and in around like 3 weeks, we'll fight again in Cage Titans. So, if you can tell me how excited you about this bout and how your camp is going for now.
Oh yeah, man. This is just like all my other fights. I'm very much so looking forward to this bout. It's it's just another chance to prove myself to, just the rest of the world. I know what I can do in my head. I know what I can do. I know the amount that I train every single day. I know the coaches and the teammates that I have and the training that I put in. And so I know where I can be someday as long as I keep my mind to it. And this is just another opportunity, like I said, to just really show the world like just how capable I am. And I'm only getting better. And camp has been very great. My body's healthy. My mind is sharp and I'm ready to put on a performance like I've never done before.
And actually, I think that your last two wins were probably the biggest one of your career because, first of all, you won a title against like quite proven veteran who definitely knows a lot of tricks, and then you fought a guy against a guy who got a lot of momentum behind him, and you also won. So probably it's like fair to say that you are in the best like moment of your career.
Absolutely, man. I've said this ever since I actually turned pro so many years ago. Like every single fight that I take is going to be the biggest fight of my life. That's just the trajectory that I'm on. It's the pattern that's going to keep following. And that's what I'm looking for. This guy's the Jordi Maya. He's a very tough opponent. 8-3, got a little bit of momentum, like you said, on his side, and but I also have tons on my side as well. And I think it's just the perfect next step with his record, his style, just all the attributes he has, the way he kind of goes out there with like a hungry mindset. It's going to be a good display of martial arts on my end to show people just again like where I am and what's to come for the future for me.
And last May, you won a Bantamweight title, and then you fought in, I believe, like catchweight 130 in your last fight. And
Yep.
if you can tell me what happened with the Bantamweight belt.
Yeah, so it's a little bit of a funny story here. I mean, so all my fights for the majority of my professional career have been at 135. I felt like that's always just been a comfortable weight for me. Early in my pro career, I think I was a little bit undersized and, but I was still hanging in there against some, pretty big guys. But then I just knew, the party, Joe Penafiel, his nickname's the party. That's who held the Cage Titans belt at the time in last May. And I just always knew that I was on path to fight him at some point for that belt. It was just destined. And, the time came. I handled business, had a little adversity, got it done. I'm the champ at the point. So it was crazy, man. This is other prospect in the region that was really gunning to fight for it, but I needed a little bit more time off before I jumped into the next card for Cage Titans to defend it right away. And because I wanted to take like one card off, they wanted to make an interim belt on the line, put one of those up. So they gave this kid like an interim title, and he won it. And then I was like on the fence of wanting to either stay at 135 and maybe defend, or maybe I was like, you know what? I'm not like the biggest 35er out here. Why don't I try and test the waters and try to get down to 125? So we started at 130 catch weight, and doing that, I guess they like said without saying that they stripped me of my title somewhat, and they basically just let that kid that had the interim title like unified with another opponent to make him the quote unquote champ. But it doesn't matter to me. A belt's never made me. I've always had success without gold. Gold is just bonus. But my goal is not to be at the end of my career the Cage Titans bantamweight champ. My goal at the end of my career is to be the best in the world on a platform like UFC. So regardless of who holds the belt or whatnot, the people around New England, they know who the real champ is. He's right here. And I can't wait to show another dominant performance back at 135, the weight that I'm thinking I want to stay at from here on out, at least for the time being. And everyone knows who the real champ is here.
But in the end, you are undefeated. You are like Lina champion. You never lost a title,
Exactly.
so it's hard to deny you. And you mentioned like some big goals. And how many fights do you need? Do you think do you need to get to the highest levels, so to the UFC?
I actually you're kind of in luck here. It's not like crazy news, but it's just things that have happened that I haven't had the opportunity to tell other podcasters yet. But I have gotten some calls. I've have gotten some calls from UFC. I'm not going to go too in depth, but I've had short notice phone calls from different managers for UFC fights that were opponents have fallen out, and they're looking for to put me in on like 1 week, 2 week notice on these cards, and we've always said yes. And then I have to cut weight like crazy leading up to that UFC fight night. And then all of a sudden, they say, "Oh, thank you for cutting the weight and doing your part, but we actually went with a local guy that's from the area of where the card is. So, but we have you on your radar." So, when you ask me how many more fights it's going to take for me to get that call, it could come right now. It could come right after I hang up with you. It could come like after I knock this kid out in 4 weeks. So I'm always ready. I'm in the gym right now. I'm in the kitchen of the gym right now. I'm never out of this gym. I live here. From the moment I wake up to put my head down at night, it's all I do, and I'm always prepared to answer the call.
So probably sometimes the most like the toughest part is just get to the like this kind of radar, and you when you are on the radar, it's probably no problem. And who knows, maybe even before this fight, you will get some short notice fight.
You never know. You never know.
And if you can tell me how your overall journey with the combat sports started, how old were you, and what was the first sport that you trained?
Yep. So ever since I was like 12 years old, my parents gave me on Christmas like the full DVD selection collection of Rocky movies, like the boxer Rocky and stuff. And I fell in love with those movies, and I was always giving my dad body shots, trying to get in there and be like Rocky and move around and put my arms up and stuff. Just as a little kid. So it was always like I always had the spark in my heart to want to do hard things and prove myself and compete and win the world titles and all that. So the first thing that my parents put me in was Taekwondo. That was when I entered high school because I was a little guy growing up. I need to learn to defend myself and what have you. So a traditional martial art like Taekwondo was the first one. That led into high school wrestling, which led into college wrestling. And then from college wrestling, about 3 months after my last wrestling match ended in my college career, I took my first amateur MMA fight in 2019. So then, I had 7 fights as an amateur, and now that went right into my professional debut. And 8 fights later, about to have my ninth professional bout here. The rest is history, man. It's been a great journey. I wouldn't trade a single thing for the world.
So how much of the like full MMA training did you have before your first amateur bout?
Not much, not much. It was all very just isolated types of training. It was strictly just wrestling or strictly just jujitsu, or I probably had about like 3 months of jujitsu in me. And There's a local guy that kind of comes around here every now and then, Randy Costa. He was a UFC veteran, and he was basically for whatever reason, how it happened, I can't really recall, but he kind of took me under his wing as an amateur, and he kind of showed me the ropes of, how to go about a training camp, how to reach out to sponsors, how to reach out to podcasters to promote yourself, and he kind of just showed me the ropes a little bit early on, and I kind of just followed him to a T, and so I'm kind of going off track, but basically, I didn't have too much strict MMA training. It was all isolated, different martial arts.
But in the end, you had probably like the best base, which is wrestling. But in MMA, you can do all of the things. So it's definitely better to be like good, at least good in all of the areas, not being like specialists in just one.
Yeah, yeah, absolutely. Yeah. I mean, everybody has their own path and everybody has their own route that they think is the best way to go about it. But end of the day, you got to have what's in here, man. You got to have the passion for it. And I think the best base is passion. And that's something I have a very good amount of, man. I'm never bored of training. I'm always looking to learn new things. And I think passion is the biggest driver of success.
And right now, you train in like two gyms, if I'm correct.
Yep. So the two gyms that I'm training off of, I think you're probably referring to what Tapology is saying, but which is not true. Tapology's got me a little wrong here, but I used to train at a bunch of different gyms, but right now the only two gyms that I'm really training at is Hook and Roll, which is my home gym, and Lausanne Martial Arts, which I'm at right now, Lausanne MMA. And both gyms gave me such great amounts of work between, jiu-jitsu, MMA in general, striking. I really make sure to check all my boxes, man, and these two gyms got it.
And like Joe Lawson is kind of like old school street legend, let's say. He was this kind of fighter, like a little bit like Donald Cerrone, who was hunting for all of the bonuses. And it's like kind of crazy how good he was like 15 years ago when he was in
Oh
the
yeah.
UFC.
Oh yeah, it's crazy, man. It's cool that like Joe Lozon is a local legend around here, and I think his style is what adds a lot of success to all of us too. It's like because he's always looking for high damage. He's always looking for very damaging shots and make it nasty. And I think regardless if someone's style strays away from that over time, I think early on, like I had with Joe Lozon being a good mentor for me early on. He really showed that like get these guys out of here, damage these guys, and really show your presence in the cage. So yeah, he's a great asset into the gym for all the amateur guys and pro guys here.
And of course, you are this kind of prospect who is on the UFC radars, so it's really close to being signed to the UFC. But in either of your gyms, do you have fighters like you, but maybe also like amateur on amateur level or early pro that you know that they can be successful in the future and even go to the UFC?
Oh, for sure. We have a whole slew of good fighters, man. Over at Hook and Roll, we have tons of young guns, and one of my main training partners is this kid Joe Poirier. We're kind of like yin and yang. What he's good at, I need a little bit of work at. What I'm good at, he's a little bit of work at. So we've always been very tight knit and helping each other all the time. We got another amateur on the card of that I'm fighting on in a little less than 4 weeks. Drew Arpin. He's fighting for an amateur belt at Cage Titans, and he is also one of my main training partners. As tough as they come, he just doesn't get tired. He's always coming at you. Big things on the horizon for him. And he's going to be like a little Ilya Taporia 2.0. I'm telling you, in a few years. Remember that. And then who else we got? We got here at Lozon's, we got a couple guys. Mark McKay is also fighting for an amateur belt at Cage Titans. And who else do we got here? A couple Muay Thai kids that are taking some kickboxing fights, one or two fights between them, and yeah, a lot of active fighters here. The Cage Titans card is going to be filled with Lozon and Hook and Roll guys, and it's going to be a takeover.
And sometimes it's crazy to watch like amateur fighters how good they are, how good they are in sometimes in all of the departments. Of course, they don't have this kind of experience to go to the UFC, especially when they are like super young. But you can see a lot of like potential in them, and a lot of fighters like from 5 years ago that at least I can see as the amateur that they on the really high level as the pro right now.
It's crazy. The scene in general for MMA is only getting better. It's always evolving. There's always new quote unquote metas that people come out with and say this is the best thing, this is the best thing. And yeah, I just think that all these young guns that everyone's seeing how you can get to the UFC, which is just being consistent in the gym, always being passionate, asking questions. It's a thing that everybody kind of knows in their head that it's like it's a simple game plan, but it's not easy. It's not easy to always show up at the gym. It's not easy to go to a workout when you're tired and you're not feeling good and stuff like that. But it's the biggest drivers of success, passion and consistency. And so many of these young guys, man, they all have it. And yeah, I think New England in general, the region I'm from, New England, I think that's really going to come out as one of the top regions in the United States very, very soon for mixed martial arts.
And if you can tell me if, let's say, after this conversation, UFC would like give you a chance to fight for them in one of the next shows, and you can pick one fighter from the bantamweight division. Do you have maybe some name that you think that you can like give this opponent some problems, or at least it would be like a fun fight for the fans?
Yeah, man. I mean, listen, the last thing I would want to come off on is cocky. I don't in my past I sometimes I've came off as a little cocky and I paid for it a little bit. I'm not trying to be that way, but I'm telling you right now, the style that I have and the coaches that I have, like my head coach Pete Luciani, he is one of the greatest minds in the sport that nobody knows about yet, and everyone's going to soon within a year or two. And I'm telling you, my style that I have, the style that we've developed, we can nullify everybody, everybody. anybody's style you can pick, and we know how to dominate. And I'm not saying it's going to be easy. Again, it's always going to be a simple game plan, but it's never easy. It's a difference. But anybody you can pick in that top 15, I'm very, very confident that I can nullify all their attacks. I can dominate them and basically shut them out. So um, I think they would all be entertaining, and it's just basically in due time. I'm really only focused on Jordi Maya in less than 4 weeks here. So I don't want to even entertain these hypothetical, scenarios. But I'm telling you right now, I just can't wait to just show everybody what I can do to Jordy, and then show everybody what I can do to anybody in the top 15 very soon.
And actually, who is your like favorite fighter to watch from the UFC?
Man, so I really enjoyed Taporia, but then again, like it just takes one stylistic matchup, and then all of a sudden, holy crap! Look what Justin Gaethje just did to him, right? So it's tough to say that you're not completely entertained by Justin Gaethje and Taporia, both great, great fighters. Always coming for the finish, high damaging shots. So I love watching those two. But then, I mean, I really like Yair Rodriguez. I really like his kicks. He's a very good kicker. I love kicking as well in my fights. There's a lot of things that I think he does well, that I really enjoy watching, just as a bias that I have from like the Taekwondo background. So I'd probably say those three.
But I think that in the end, like Yair should be in the UFC Hall of Fame because of his knockout over Korean Zombie. It
Oh,
was
the elbow.
yes, yes, it was something I didn't think that something like this can be even possible.
That was one of the craziest things. I actually just watched that again recently, a couple weeks ago. That is just absolutely nuts. One of the craziest finishes you'll ever see in the UFC.
And like obviously you are on the really high level, you definitely train a lot, but there is a sometimes a big thing like burnout in your training. And do you have this kind of days that you deal with something like this, and you are like super like beaten up like physically or mentally, and you need to go through with this?
Yeah. So of course there's gonna be days where like I'm feeling burnt out, like you said, just tired, smoked. I had so many hard days in a row, and all of a sudden I'm like, dang, I still got to do one more day of training here before I get to take my rest day. I try to make it so I only have one rest day a week. I try to maximize the amount of output and work that I can do throughout the week before I truly have to tell myself to take a day off. But those days where like I know I need to put in a little bit more work before I get to that rest day, there's so many different ways that I just get myself driven. I mean, like I'm always driven for sure, but I don't know. I talk to my teammates here who are very aspiring athletes, and they train like professionals with almost no notice behind their name, and they just know in their minds that they're going to get to where they get to. Just one conversation with them, man, I'm like, oh wow, like these guys are so passionate about their craft. Like it's a waste of time for me to not go put in the work right now when these guys are just so driven and motivated to go get their own work done. So anytime I talk to like very motivated individuals, I always get inspired to put in more work. And but the times I really need to take a day off, I mean, you'll find me, spending time outside. I've been going to the ocean lately, taking a good swim, resetting the body. I play some video games in my downtime that I can while I'm coming home from workouts or something like that. And I've been, I like watching TV on my rest day if I can. I'm a big Marvel movie nerd, like the superheroes and stuff. So that's basically all I really do on the rest days is kind of just try to tell myself to chill out, get outside, or play a little video games or something.
Yes, but I think that you mentioned like a really interesting and important thing to be like surrounded about with people who are like super
Yeah.
motivated because you can be motivation for someone and they can be for you, and when you have like similar goals, it can be like really big factor in the end in your success.
Oh, 100%, man. It's funny. The more you surround yourself with these like-minded individuals, the better you'll do and the better you'll become. And the more people that want to just claw their way back into your life because they are um, like basically they have like this gravitational pull of success and good mindset where everybody wants to be around that. But the moment that you surround yourself with somebody that slacks off, that doesn't want to commit to the professional lifestyle, and they just don't care as much. It's like a cancer, man. You got to cut that out before it rips you down. So I really make sure to surround myself with great guys in the gym every day that all are pursuing very, very, very similar goals, regardless of the specific sport, MMA, jiu-jitsu, wrestling, whatever have you. Just surround yourself with these guys. You just got to be patient for success, and it'll come in.
And of course, like to be successful, you have to have like good coaches, good training partners. But of course, like sponsors are really, really important part of this game. So if you can tell me who is helping you with this journey.
I appreciate you giving me the opportunity to shout these sponsors out, man. Thank you. I actually got a list right here that I came in handy with. So for this fight camp in particular, I'm so grateful to all these sponsors that are just kind of keeping my head above water a little bit easier. Fighting is as much as we all love it and are passionate about it. It's not the highest paying sport on the regional scene just yet. So you really gotta, make do. I teach some private lessons here and there to throw some money in my gas tank to get to all these different gyms. But on top of that, for all the memberships, the costs of the gyms and the travel and the supplements and all that, these are the companies that are helping me out. So Face Off Fight Co. They've been with me since my pro debut. And they've been great. They have some of the best grappling gear in the region. Definitely check them out. Face Off Fight Co. Arpin Plumbing. This is my teammate Drew Arpin. Him and his father's plumbing business, and they're out of Taunton, Massachusetts. Very grateful for them. Main Source Essentials is also a new one out of Raynham, Mass. That's actually my barber who has been cutting my hair for many, many years now, and he just came out with his own premium and all natural beard oil. So he's gonna have this beard looking nice on fight night. I can't wait. Maybe I'll shoot you some of this stuff. You'd probably appreciate it. You got a nice
Yes,
beard
yes,
over there.
definitely.
Yeah, yeah. And then Classic Cars on Palm Beach. They've sponsored me for a few fights now. They're down in Florida. U.S. Golden Pawn out of Manchester, New Hampshire. This is my sister and her fiance's pawn shop, and they have some of the greatest deals around. They also just opened a new segment of the store where they actually sell like firearms and stuff. So it's a new addition. Jen's Jewelers, very, very grateful. She sponsored me. I just got the phone call today that she wanted to hop on board for the sponsor team. So, last minute addition, thank you so much. And last but not least, Fixed Care Inc. out of Raynham, Mass. They're great people. They sponsored me for like 2 or 3 fights now at this point, and their kids actually come to Lozon and MMA, so I'm always seeing them in here, and they're just very, very great family, and they're always trying to support all the fighters. And then while I'm here, really quick, I forgot to shout this one. Party Time Rental. All right, this is my sister's boyfriend tent rental company, and any summertime gigs that you guys have, for you need a big tent in the outside with the sun beaming down, or it's raining or something like that. They'll get your party covered literally, and have tents, tables, chairs, what have you. So, thank you all to these sponsors, and thank you for giving me the time to shout them out.
Yes, and in the end, like sponsor are like underrated part of this game, and without them, a lot of like really really good prospects couldn't fight. To be honest, so
Yeah,
definitely a big shout out for them.
yes, sir.
Okay, Andrew, so many thanks for the time and for conversation. Of course, I hope that you will win your next fight, but who knows, maybe we can see you even before this in the UFC, because it's like kind of crazy world. So I hope that this kind of thing will happen for you really, really soon.
Yes, sir. In an ideal world, we get the job done on July 18th, Cage Titan 77 main event, Valdina versus Maya. I'm taking this guy out. And then in an ideal world, man, right after I get a call for a contender series or a short notice fight, and you guys will all see me on the world stage soon. Thank you so much, brother. I appreciate you having me on this podcast. It's been great chatting with you.